Hello everyone, my name is Anu. Today we'll read the next lesson of class 4 English, Helen Keller. Students, this is the life story of Helen Keller. And she was a world renowned personality and she was she was suffering from some disabilities, some physical disabilities, but still she gained knowledge and she became a prolific writer, right? And she has written many books, around 14 books, and many speeches. And this lesson is taken from her autobiography, The Story of My Life. And it is also written by Helen Keller. So students, first of all, let's learn about Helen Keller. Let me show you the original picture of Helen Keller. Look at this. This is Helen Keller. Students, she was deaf as well as blind. She could only speak. She could neither hear nor see. But still, she became successful, and her full name was Helen Adams Keller. She was born in June 27, 1880. Okay, and died in June 1st, 1968. She was an American author, disability rights advocate, political activist, and lecturer. Born in West Alabama, she lost her sight and hearing after a bout of illness at the age of 19 months. And later on, how she went on in her life journey and what are the difficulties that she had to face in her early lifehood, early childhood, and how did she become successful. This is all about her success story, her life story, students. And let me tell you one thing. This is on the top, you can see Helen Keller. This is her signature. And she was a prolific author, writing 14 books and hundreds of speeches and essays on topics ranging from animals to Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, and the story of Keller and Sullivan was made famous by Keller's 1903 autobiography, The Story of My Life. Alright, students, and this lesson in your book, Helen Keller, it has been taken from her autobiography only. Let's read this lesson and find out what are the difficulties that Helen Keller had to face and how did she acquire knowledge and who helped her out to gain knowledge, right? Let's start it. It was the summer of 1880. It was the year 1880 and the summer season. A healthy baby girl was born in a small town in Alabama. And what happened? A healthy baby girl. This means that Helen Keller was healthy at the time of birth. She was absolutely healthy. Okay, her parents loved her dearly and named her Helen Keller. And her parents, they loved her very much. They named her Helen Keller. But one day, the baby became ill, and day after day, her fever stayed high. But what happened, student, one day that she became ill? She had fever, and her fever was not coming down. It was getting high and high by the each day. Then what happens? Everyone in the family tried to help her to get better. But all they could say was, there is nothing more we can do. The baby may not live. Students, everybody in her family and the doctors, everybody tried to help her, tried to make her feel better. But they could not do more for her because everybody used to say that now nothing can be done. She may not live. She may be dead soon. Later what happened? Helen lived, but she was not the same after her illness. Something is very wrong, her mother said. But students, everybody was saying that she may not live, but Helen lived. But she was not the same, because some problem was there um, after her illness. There was some problem in the child. And what is the problem, students? At last they found out what was wrong. And what was wrong? The child could not see or hear. And what is the problem? What was the problem? That after the illness, Helen lost her eye and lost her hearing power. She could not see, she could not hear. The baby grew into a little girl. And so what to do? The baby grew little older into a little girl. The parents felt sorry for her. Her parents were very sad that because Helen could not see, she could not hear, and they were feeling very sad for her. Helen often cried and hauled on to her mother. Give the poor child what she wants, her father would say. And Helen, Helen always used to cry. She used to cling with her mother. And her father was feeling pity for her. And he used to say that please give anything, whichever she wants. Please provide her everything and don't let her cry. They were feeling very sorry for the little girl. Though Helen could not hear or see, she was a bright little girl. Some people thought Helen could not learn anything. Her mother did not agree. Helen is very smart, she said, and added, the problem is how can we reach her? She's locked up inside herself. Well, students, that girl Helen, she could not hear or see, but still she was very intelligent. She was a bright child. And although all the people, they used to think that she's not able to learn anything, because as she could not hear and she could not see, then how can she learn anything? So everybody was saying that she will not be able to learn anything. But her mother said that no, she is a smart girl. She can learn. But the problem is this, that how can we make her learn? Because she has locked up inside herself. Because she is not able to speak out herself. She is not able to hear. And she is not able to see anything. That's why what is there inside her, we are not able to get it. We are not able to reach to her. So we have to find out a way to reach her so that we can teach her. Wow. Next. Helen began to grow white. Now you just imagine students, a child who cannot hear anything, who cannot see anything. Everywhere is darkness in his life. He cannot hear anything, he cannot see anything, he or she. Then what will be the life of that child? How the child will feel? Okay, obviously that kind of child will get frustrated and later on it will become wild. He or she will become wild. So what happened with Helen? She became a wild one. She would not let anyone comb her hair. Okay, she would not let anyone to comb her hair. Her clothes were always dirty. She was often angry. Sometimes she even lay on the floor and kicked her feet. Okay, because she has become so fussy and so irritated that every time she gets angry, she is very untidy all the time. She every time she wants to get whatever she wants, in whichever way she wants to get whatever she wants. Maybe she will lie on the floor and kick her feet and want for the thing that she wants. Right? So overall, she is a frustrated and irritated kind of child, and a wild creature she had become. Her parents thought that they should find a teacher for her. Miss Sullivan, a young teacher, agreed to help Helen to learn to see the world. Okay, now her parents, they decided that they should get her a teacher. Okay, and they searched for a teacher and they found Miss Sullivan, who was a young teacher, and she was ready. She became ready to teach Helen. So Miss Sullivan gave Helen a doll. What did she do first? She gave her a doll. D-O-L-L spells doll, she said. She spelled the word with her fingers into Helen's hand. She made the letters with special hand signs. Now see, what did she do? She write the letters D-O-L-L on her hand. Okay, with special signs, she wrote D-O-L-L on her hand. And she gave her a doll. Then what happened? Helen copied her teacher and spelled doll too. Now Helen, what did Helen do? She also copied her teacher and spelled D-O-L-L on her hand. But she did not understand what was she doing. You know, she just copied Miss Sullivan, but she didn't know what she was doing. Helen liked Miss Sullivan. She was strict but kind. She spelled a lot of words for Helen on her hand day and night to make Helen understand. Okay, and she also liked Miss Sullivan because she was very sweet, although she was strict, but she was kind to her. She wanted to make her teach, right? And so she spelled a lot of words on her hand to make her understand. Then what happened? One day her teacher made Helen put her hand into running water. Then she spelled water, W-A-T-E-R. Suddenly Helen understood that water means something wet running over her hand. Now one day what happened? Her teacher put her hand inside under the running water, and then she spelled the word water on her hand, W-A-T-E-R, water. She spelled water on her hand. Now suddenly Helen understood that okay, the word that which ma'am had just written, this is W-A-T-E-R, water. It is this thing which is running on my hand at the time. Right? It was something wet which is running over her hand. So now she understood that okay, this thing which is running over my hand, this is water. She understood that words were the most important things in the world. Words would tell her everything she wanted to. Now she has understood that these words are the most important things in the world, and whichever she wants to know, she wanted to know, whichever thing she wanted to know, these words will tell her. So now she was very keen to learn things, and she was very happy with Miss Sullivan. She was also working very hard with Helen, and later on Helen become, as I told you earlier, that she became an author and an activist, and she became very successful later on in her life, right? Although she was dumb, and she was blind and deaf, but still she achieved success in her life, students, and she became a role model for those students, for those children who are like her, right? So this was the story of Helen Keller. Students, I hope you are quite inspired by this story. Now let's do the new words of this lesson. So students, now look at the picture. This is a picture of Braille script. Okay, and as you can see, this Braille script, it is a system of touch reading and writing for blind persons in which raised dots represent the letters of the alphabets, right? And it was devised by Louis Braille in 1821. And this is for blind people, students. They can touch it, they can feel it, and then they can read what is it written. Okay, nowadays in trains and in public places, these Braille scripts are also written so that the blind people, they can touch it and they can read whatever is written, right? So now this was the chapter, student. Now let's do the new words. Let's see the first word. It is dearly. Dearly means very much. Like he loved his mother dearly, and she paid dearly for the food. Next, illness. Illness means sickness. My aunt is dealing with mental illness. Or Priya died after a long illness. Next is agreed. Agreed means of the same opinion. Like we agreed on the date for the reunion. Sia agreed to marry Rahul. Next, important. Important means of a great value, right? Like English is a very important subject, or it is important to keep our city clean. Okay. So these were the new words, and now let's see the question answers of this lesson. Question number 1 is, something is wrong, said Helen's mother. What was wrong with Helen? So Helen could not see or hear. Although Helen could not hear or see, what kind of girl was she? So Helen was a smart girl, although she could not hear or see. Next, who agreed to help Helen? So Helen's teacher, Miss Sullivan, agreed to help Helen. Next, how did Miss Sullivan help Helen? So Miss Sullivan spelt a lot of words for Helen on her hand to make her understand. Next, what did Helen learn when the teacher put her hand into running water? So the answer is, Helen learnt to spell the word water, W-A-T-E-R, when the teacher put her hand into running water. What was the most important thing that Helen finally understood? So Helen understood that the words are the most important things in the world. How do people who cannot see or read, read? So I just told you, like blind people can read books using the Braille script, where they can read the alphabets through touch. Okay. Next, what is the script for children who cannot see called? You know it? The script for children who cannot see is called Braille. How do you think you can help children who cannot see? So we can help blind children by playing easy indoor games with them so as they enjoy and at the same time also learn something, right? Now here are two columns, students. Match the two parts of sentences given under column A and B. Add but to join the two parts and write complete sentence. Students, as you know, when two opposite actions are going on, then we add but. Okay. When, like you can see, there are two columns, column A and B, and there are two sentences, of course. And you have to add two sentences, but should be used as a conjunction by but can be used only when the opposite actions are going on in both the sentences, right? So just take care of this in mind, and let's see which are the two sentences that we can add with but. Helen lived after her illness. Then what should come? But she could not hear or see. Let's see the answers. Helen lived after her illness, but she could not hear or see. She could not see or hear, but she was very intelligent. People thought that she could not learn anything, but her mother thought that she could learn. Helen copied the words, but she did not understand what she was doing. Miss Sullivan was strict, but she was kind to Helen. Right? So now next is, read the following sentences. Her clothes were always dirty. She was often angry. Sometimes she lay on the floor. Her parents never scolded her. Now, as you have seen, students, that some words I have written in the different color. In the green one, always, often, sometimes, never. So what's there? Ask yourself the following questions. Put a tick under the right column. Like this is the frequency of work, right? So you have to tell that how frequent you are doing in these works. Like how often do you obey your parents? How often do you obey your parents? Is it always or often or sometimes or never? So be honest, huh? Is it always? That do you always obey your parents? Then you have to put a tick mark like I have put. Now visit your grandparents. How do you visit your grandparents? Often? Often means many a times. Fight with your brother or sister? Sometimes. Help sometimes or always? Help others? Always. Throw waste in the dustbin? Always. Switch off the lights when you go out of the room? Always. Leave the tap on while brushing your teeth? Do you do it? Never. Tear pages from the notebook? Never. So these are the model answers that I have given. You have to write the truth. Okay, do it yourself. Now look at this picture, students. Using sign language, make these letters with your hands. You have to practice this and use these letters, use these hand signs to make such letter. Like how will you make C? You will make C with like this, with your hand. H is like two fingers. E is like fist closed, right? And then K is like V something, right? So you should know the sign languages also so that you can help such people who are not able to hear. Okay, because how do they learn? Because they learn like with the help of these sign languages, like C, H, E, like all the alphabets have their sign language. Like I'm showing you. Look at this. A to Z letters in sign language. You know, like this is how when we want to say something. Suppose we want to tell water. So how? Where is W? It's like 3. A is like this. T. Okay, T is like thumb. Then like this. E is like fist closed. R is like that. So like when we want to speak water, so how with the help of these sign language, quickly we will enact like this. We'll make this hand gestures, right? And the person who is not able to hear, he can understand that we are saying water. Okay. Now, Helen Keller's first words. Let's see how she came to find out like which was written or which was told. Okay, like Helen also could not hear, so her teacher, she made these gestures to like Helen, she wrote like this. Doll, she wrote like this. Not wrote, she enacted like this. Milk like this. Water, teacher. So these are the Helen's first words that she understood. Now, students, there is an activity for you which you have to do. With the help of bindis or any stars or anything, make a model of Braille script on A4 size sheet or drawing sheet. What you have to do, you have to make a Braille script, okay, and like this, in which all the alphabets are written. Like I have done it for you on a paper, on an A4 size sheet or on a drawing sheet, a thick paper. What you have to do, you have to make these 6 pairs, right? These are the 6 dots for A. You know, every letter has 6 dots, and out of which some dots are darkened or the big. The big means that these some dots are encarved. Okay, these like A will write like this, B for 2, C for the upper 2, D for the side 3, right? Likewise, we have to write all the alphabets here. Okay, and then one more thing, you have to write your name in Braille script also. Okay, so do it. and enjoy doing this activity. Thank you so much for watching the video. Stay tuned with me for my next video. Till then, take care